Hello, students. In today's lecture, we are going to learn about gravitation from NCERT section 7.7. And we will also solve an example 7.3. This is disclaimer. Learning objective. By the end of this lecture, you will able to understand the concept of gravitational potential energy. So in today's lecture, we will cover first 7.7 gravitational potential energy. After that, we will solve an example 7.3. So today we are going to explore the concept of potential energy in the context of gravitational force. So let's define potential energy. It's the work done against gravity when moving a body from a reference point, typically infinity, to a specific position. This means that potential energy is essentially the energy stored due to an object's position in a gravitational field. An important point to note is that the body's velocity is kept constant throughout the path. This implies that the work done is only against gravity, without any acceleration or deceleration affecting the energy calculation. Next is conservative force. A conservative force is one where the work done in moving an object between 2 points is the same, regardless of the path taken. This is an important concept because it means that the potential energy depends only on the initial and final positions, not the path. To understand this, the figure showing that the work done between 2 points, point A and point B. This property of conservative forces allows us to define potential energy uniquely for any position in a gravitational field. So, gravitational potential here is a path independent. It depends on initial and final point. Additionally, for a conservative force like gravity, the work done on any closed path is zero. This means that if you start and end at the same point, no net work is done, reinforcing the idea that potential energy is path independent. Gravitational potential energy is determined by calculating the energy an object possesses due to the gravitational force acting on it. This energy is crucial for understanding how objects interact in gravitational fields, such as planets orbiting stars or objects falling to the ground. Now, we are going to explore the conservative nature of gravitational force. Our aim is to prove that gravitational force is conservative. This means that the work done by gravity on an object moving between 2 points is independent of the path taken. So let's dive into the details. So first, consider the gravitational force between two masses, capital M and small m. The force is given by F is equal to minus gmm divided by r square into r cap. Here, g is gravitational constant and capital M and small m are the masses. R is the distance between the masses and r cap is the unit vector in the direction of force. So, the integral of the force over a closed path, closed integration f dot dl, represented as the line integral. So, this expression of the integral, that is closed integration f dot dl is equal to closed integration minus gmm divided by r square r cap dl. So, it helps us understand how the force behaves over a path. The negative sign indicates that force is attractive. Here we see that r cap dot dl is equal to dr, which is the radial component. Therefore, the integrals simplifies to minus g into capital M into small m into closed integration dr upon r square is equal to 0. So this result shows that the work done by gravitational force over a closed path is 0 and is confirming its conservative nature. And this is a important characteristics of gravitational force. Let's continue with conservation nature of gravitational force. The integral around a closed path, the expression integral of closed integration dr upon r square is equal to 0. This integral represents the work done by gravitational force around a closed loop. And the key point here is that if the integral is 0, it indicates that the work done is independent of path taken, which is a characteristic of conservative force. Now, let's focus on the integration variable r. It's important to note that r returns to its starting value at the end of the closed path. This means that the path is closed and the initial and final positions are the same. This reinforces the idea that the work done by gravity is path independent. So we conclude that the gravitational force is indeed a conservative force. This is because the integral around a closed path is 0, confirming that the work done by gravity does not depend on the path taken. This concept is important in physics as it allows us to use potential energy to simplify calculations involving gravitational forces. All right. We will understand the relationship between work done and potential energy. This is a fundamental concept in physics that helps us understand how energy is transferred when an object is moved in a gravitational field. So let's dive into the details. So let's consider 2 points near the Earth's surface at height h1 and h2. h1 and h2. These heights are much smaller than the Earth radius, which simplifies our calculations. So look at here the diagram showing these 2 points, P1 and P2. This setup will help us analyze the work done when moving an object between these heights. from point P1 to P2 or P2 to P1. At these heights, gravity can be considered practically constant, represented by the force mg, where m is the mass of the object and small g is the acceleration due to gravity. This force is always directed toward the Earth's center, which is important for understanding how potential energy changes. Now let's talk about the work done in lifting a particle of mass small m from height h1 to height h2. Work done is a measure of energy transfer, and in the case it involves moving the object against the gravitational force. The work done W12 is calculated as the product of the force and the displacement. In the context displacement, or we can in this context, displacement is the change in height h2 minus h1. All right, and this formula is a straightforward application of work energy principle. So the work done W12 is equal to mg times the difference in height h2 minus h1. This is represented by the equation, we can say 7.20, and this is very important equation. So this equation shows how potential energy changes with height, providing a clear link between work and energy. Let's continue with relation between work done and potential energy. Potential energy at a certain height denoted as WH. The formula for potential energy at height h is WH is equal to mgh plus W naught. Here, small m is the mass of the object, small g is the acceleration due to gravity, and small h is the height. All right. So in this equation, W naught is a constant. This constant represents the potential energy at a reference point. Now, let's consider the work done when moving an object between two heights. W12 is the difference in potential energy between two heights h2 and h1. So, W12 is equal to WH2 minus WH1. And this shows us that the work done is directly related to change in the potential energy. When the height is 0, all right, meaning the object is on the Earth's surface, the potential energy is simply WH is equal to 0 or is equal to W naught. This establishes our reference point for potential energy calculation. Here W naught represents the potential energy at the Earth's surface. It's important to understand that this is our baseline or starting point for measuring potential energy changes. The formula we have derived works well near the Earth's surface because we assume gravity, represented by mg, is constant. However, this assumption breaks down when we move far from Earth, where gravity can vary significantly. Remember that the assumptions we have made are valid only near the Earth's surface. All right. Now, we will derive the gravitational potential energy. This is a fundamental concept in physics that helps us understand how objects interact with each other due to gravity. We will start by looking at the gravitational force acting on a mass at a certain distance from the Earth's surface. So let's examine the gravitational force acting on a mass m at an arbitrary distance r from the Earth's surface. The formula for this force is F equal to capital G into me into small m divided by r square, where capital G is the gravitational constant, me is the mass of the Earth, and r is the distance from the center of the Earth. Alright. Work done in moving the mass m from a distance r1 to another r2, r1 to r2, a to b. The work done W12 is calculated using the integral of the gravitational force over the distance from r1 to r2. This integral W12 is equal to r1 to r2 gme m divided by r square dr. Alright, this represents energy required to move the mass in a gravitational field. Let's continue with derivation of gravitational potential energy. By calculating the work done by gravitational forces, here we have the integral expression for work done. W12 is equal to G me into m integration r1 to r2 dr upon r square. This equation shows us how to calculate work done when moving an object from one point to another in a gravitational field. G is the gravitational constant, m is the mass of the Earth, and small m is the mass of the object. Now we simplify the integral to get W12 is equal to G me into m into minus 1 upon r, and lower limit is r1 to upper limit r2. This step involves evaluating the integral, which gives us the expression in the terms of inverse of the radial distance. So the final expression for the work done is W12 is equal to minus gme into m into 1 upon r2 minus 1 upon r1. This is a key result as it shows the work done depends on the initial and final positions of the object. Change in potential energy denoted as delta U. So it's important to note that delta U is the negative of work done by gravitational force. Delta U is equal to U of R2 minus U of R1 is equal to minus W12. And this relationship helps us understand the how potential energy changes as an object moves in a gravitational field. Alright. Let's continue with derivation of gravitational potential energy. So we got potential energy as delta U is equal to Gme into m into 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1. Here capital G is the gravitational constant. Me is the mass of the Earth. Small m is the mass of the object, and R1 and R2 are the distances from the center of the Earth. So by convention, we take the potential energy at infinity to be 0. This means that as an object moves infinitely far away from the Earth, its potential energy approaches 0. This simplifies our calculations and provides a reference point. Now let's set R1 is equal to R, the distance from the Earth's center, and R2 is equal to infinity. This setup allows us to calculate the potential energy at a specific distance from the Earth compared to when the object is infinitely far away. Using the formula U of R2 minus U of R1 is equal to GME into M into 1 upon R2 minus 1 upon R1. We can substitute our values for R1 and R2. So we substitute R2 with infinity in the equation. U infinity minus U of infinity minus U of R is equal to GME into M into 1 upon infinity minus 1 upon R. Since 1 upon infinity is 0, this simplifies to U of R is equal to minus G into ME into M divided by R. This is the formula for gravitational potential energy at a distance R from the Earth center. Let's continue with derivation of gravitational potential energy. So we simplify the equation to show that the change in potential energy is 0 minus U of R is equal to minus GME into M divided by R. This gives us equation. U of R is equal to minus GME divided by GME into M divided by R. So this is the gravitational potential energy of a mass M at a distance R from the center of the Earth. Potential energy, it is essentially the amount of work done in moving the particle from infinity to a specific point in the gravitational field. This concept helps us understand how energy is stored in a system due to gravitational forces. The negative sign indicates that the force is attractive. This means that work is done by the gravitational field when bringing an object closer, which is why the potential energy decreases as the object moves closer to the Earth. Now, we are going to explore the mathematical formulation of potential energy near Earth's surface. Here, our aim to understand how potential energy is calculated for an object at a certain height above the Earth. This will set the stage for understanding gravitational potential energy in more complex scenarios. So let's start by considering an object of mass small m at a height small h above the Earth's surface. All right. So this one is the Earth's surface, and the small m is the mass and height h. Here the distance from the center of the Earth to the object is small r, and which is equal to Earth's radius re plus height h. So the potential energy at height h is U of h is equal to minus GME into M divided by Re plus h. In this equation, G is the gravitational constant, Me is the mass of the Earth, and small m is the mass of the object. The negative sign indicates that the gravitational potential energy is considered negative because work is done against the gravitational force to lift the object. Potential energy on the surface. So U of potential on the surface is equal to minus GME into M divided by Re. Let's continue with mathematical to formulation of potential energy near Earth surface. So change in potential energy when a mass denoted as small m is lifted from the Earth's surface to a height h. This change is important because it represents the work done against a gravitational force. The change in potential energy, delta U, is calculated as the difference between potential energy at a height h and the potential energy at a surface. Mathematically, this is expressed as delta U is equal to U of h minus U of. The formula for delta U It is given by delta U is equal to GME into M into 1 upon RE minus 1 upon RE plus H. This equation shows how the potential energy changes with height considering the gravitational pull of the Earth. Simplifying the expression, we get delta U is equal to GME into MH divided by RE into RE plus H. This formula highlights the relationship between the change in potential energy, the height, and Earth radius. Alright. Let's continue with mathematical to formulation of potential energy near Earth's surface. The approximation for small heights are denoted as H, where H is much less than Earth's radius RE. In this case, we can simplify the expression RE into RE plus H, approximately equal to RE square. This simplification helps us focus on the effects of height without complicating calculations with large numbers. So, with this expression, approximation, we can express the change in potential energy. So, delta U as approximately M times GME divided by RE square into H. Here M is the mass, G is the gravitational potential, M is the mass of the Earth, and R is the Earth's radius. To further simplify, we use the expression for gravity, small g, which is GME divided by RE square. So by substituting g into our earlier expression, we arrive at the familiar formula delta U is equal to mgh. So this formula gives us the potential energy for small heights where gravity g is considered constant. Alright. Now we are going to explore the concept of gravitational potential. Our aim to understand what gravitational potential means and how it is used in physics. This will help us grasp how potential energy is distributed in a gravitational field. So let's start by defining gravitational potential. Gravitational potential, denoted as V at a point in a gravitational field, is the potential energy per unit mass. This means it tells us how much potential energy a mass would have at a specific point in the field. Now, let's look at the formula for the gravitational potential. V of R is equal to U of R by M. Here, V of R is the gravitational potential at a distance R, and U of R is the potential energy at a distance, and M is the mass. This formula helps us to calculate the potential energy per unit mass. So, substituting the values of U of R as, so U of R is equal to minus GME into M divided by R, where G is the gravitational constant. By substituting into the formula, we get V of R is equal to minus GME divided by R. So it's important to note that R represents the distance of mass M from the center of the Earth. This distance is important. It affects the gravitational potential experienced by the mass. Gravitational potential is measured in units of joules per kilogram, J per joule per kg, or meters squared per second squared, or we can say meter square per second square. These units reflect the energy per unit mass, helping us quantify the potential energy in a gravitational field. Remember that the gravitational potential is a scalar quantity, means it has magnitude but no direction, unlike vector quantities. Understanding these help us differentiate between potential and the other vector quantities in physics. Example 7.3. Find the potential energy of a system of 4 particles placed at the vertices of a square of side L. Also obtain the potential at the center of the square. Alright. Let's see the solution. So let's start by discussing the potential energy of the system. Potential energy in this context refers to the energy stored due to the positions of the particles relative to each other. So total potential energy of the system is calculated by summing up the potential energy of all individual pairs of particles. It's important because each pair contributes to the overall energy of the system. So there are six mass pairs, four mass pairs along the sides at a distance L, two mass pairs along the diagonals at a distance root 2L. All right. So potential energy of the system is the total potential energy is the sum of the potential energies each pair of particles. So we have U is equal to potential energy AB plus UBC plus UCD plus UDA plus UAC plus UBD. Now let's clarify what each term represents. UAB is the potential energy between masses at points A and B, and similarly for the other terms. This is important because it shows us how each pair of the particles contributes to the total potential energy of the system. So focus on the potential energy along the sides of the square. Due to the symmetry of the square, the potential energy between each pair of adjacent particles is equal. So we express as U AB is equal to UBC is equal to UCD is equal to UDA is equal to minus GM square divided by L. All right. So potential energy along the diagonals of the square, since the square is symmetrical, the potential energy along each diagonal will be equal. This symmetry simplifies our calculations, and it is a key point to remember when dealing with such configuration. So U AC is equal to UBD is equal to minus GM square divided by L into root 2. Now, remember the potential energy in a gravitational context is the energy due to the position of the masses relative to each other. So we express potential energy using the formula U is equal to 4 times minus GM square by L plus 2 into minus GM square divided by L into root 2. All right. So solving this, you will be get the value of U. Now, simplify the expression for potential energy. We have U is equal to minus 4G M square by L minus root 2 GM square by L. So, U is equal to minus GM square by L into 4 plus root 2. So, focusing on the potential at the center of the square, this is an important step because it helps us understand how the gravitational force from each mass combined at the central point. So center of the square is equidistant from all vertices. So the distance r from the center to the any vertex is half of the diagonal. So r equal to L into root 2 divided by 2 is equal to L by root 2. All right. So focus on the potential at the center of the square. The potential V at the center is the sum of potentials due to each mass. This means we need to consider the contribution from each of the four masses at the corners. This equation V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus V4 shows us that we add up the potentials from each mass to find the total potential at the center. So potential potential at the each corner of the square, the formula V1 is equal to V2 is equal to V3 equal to V4 is equal to minus GM divided by R. So V is equal to minus 4 gm divided by r. Substituting the values of r as r equal to L by root 2. So V equal to minus 4 root 2 gm divided by L. Before we end today's lecture, let's quickly go through the summary of what we have learned. Gravitational potential energy. This is the work done against to move a body from a reference point, which is often considered to be at infinity. Think of it as a gravity energy stored due to object's position in a gravitational field. For gravitational force, F is equal to minus gmm divided by r square into r cap is a conservative as F close integration F dl is equal to 0. Near Earth surface, we simplify gravitational potential energy to U of H. UH is equal to mgh plus U naught, where g is constant. For larger arbitrary distances, the potential energy is given by U of r is equal to minus g mm divided by r, where potential energy at infinity is 0. Change in potential energy delta U is equal to the negative work done by gravitational force W12. This relationship helps us calculate how energy is transferred when an object moves in a gravitational field. Gravitational potential V of r is the potential energy per unit mass given by V of r is equal to minus gm divided by r. This concept is important because it allows us to compare the potential energy of different mass in the same gravitational field. In a system of a masses, the total potential energy is the sum of the potential energies of all possible pairs. This means we consider the interactions between every pair of masses, which is essential for understanding complex systems like galaxies. And last, for small heights where h is the much less than the Earth's radius, at the change in potential energy simplifies to delta U is equal to mgh. At the end of the lecture, we have some practice questions. These will not only help you to revise today's concepts, but also build your problem solving skills. And most importantly, solving these questions will help you a lot in your exam preparation. All right. The first question, a ball of mass 2 kg is lifted 5 meters above ground. Calculate its gravitational potential energy. Is gravitational force is a conservative or non-conservative force? Explain why. Describe how gravitational potential energy changes as the distance from Earth's center increases. Explain why this occurs. The potential energy of a mass m at a height h above Earth's surface is 100 joule. If the mass is doubled but height is half, what will be the new potential energy? And fifth, if work done in moving mass from point A to B is positive, will the gravitational potential energy increase or decrease? So these are the practice questions and these are the homework for you. I hope all concepts are clear. Thank you for your attention.